Hi guys, I'm Bart Robley and you have made it along with me to day number 10 in my video series, a 31-day video diary of life as a professional musician. Before I go into today's subject, I want to take a minute to say thank you to everybody who has been watching these and who has left me a kind message on YouTube or who has sent me a kind message on Facebook or a text message or something like that. When I originally set out to do this series, I thought, I want to cover some things that I haven't seen other teachers cover in their drum lessons, stuff that goes beyond the playing aspects of being a musician. So, and obviously, I think that people are digging it, and there was a need for it because I'm getting a lot of great messages about this. So, thank you so much. Today, what I want to talk about is something that has plagued all of us from one time or another as a performer, and that's nerves or stage fright, or if you're going into a recording session, red light syndrome, whatever you want to call it. It's something that has plagued all of us, and it's something that I think a lot of people don't know how to deal with. Right now, we're at the end of the school year, so I have a lot of drum students who are getting ready to either do a performance for an open house or for the end of the year or something like that, or they're going in for auditions for next year. So they might be going out for drumline, they might be going out for jazz band, all kinds of stuff. So they're going in for auditions. And I've been getting the question a lot, how do I deal with being nervous? I'm going in for an audition. I got a performance. My gosh, I'm so nervous. Well, I think there are certain ways that we can deal with that. I remember talking to the great Roy Burns one time at Aquarian Drumheads, and he was talking about how he used to get nervous or get butterflies before he would go on for a drum clinic, and how he would use that to fuel his fire rather than hinder his performance. And so I just thought that that was fantastic, and these are some of the tips on how I deal with when I'm getting a little bit nervous or I feel some butterflies or a little bit anxious before a performance. First of all, I kind of recognize it for what it is, and I realize that everybody that has come before me or anybody that's ever stepped onto a stage has the same problem, that nervous energy, that anticipation of downbeat for the performance, or the anticipation of, man, I hope I do good in this audition and I get the gig, right? We have all felt that at one time or another. So I use that energy more in a positive way to really put on a good performance, to dig down deep and really kind of propel my playing as opposed to hindering my playing. I think the best thing that the one thing that I try to do, and the best thing that a young performer can do, is really think things through. Make sure that you know what it is that you're doing. There's an old joke. A guy's walking down the street in New York and he walks up to a stranger and he goes, "Hey, how do I get to Carnegie Hall?" And the stranger says, "Practice, practice, practice." That's so true, man. So prepare, 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 practice, 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 whatever you want to call it. When you step onto that stage, know your parts. I don't think there'd be a worse feeling in the world than walking into something unprepared. Going up and going to a gig and going, man, I just got to get through this song for this performance, how do I do that? Well, it's easy. Practice beforehand. I've been talking in the whole video series how you're going to spend a lot of time in the practice room getting ready for a performance, way more than you ever will on stage or in a recording session or anything like that. So just make sure you're prepared. Also, we all have one common thing, and I tell my students all the time that we all have that little voice in the back of our head. And I don't know what everybody's voice says exactly, but sometimes when we're nervous, that voice is saying, we're going to mess up, don't mess up, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at you. Whatever it's saying something negative. If you focus in on that voice, believe me, I've been guilty of this. If you focus in on that voice, whatever it's telling you, you're going to do. Don't listen to that voice, right? It might be something as simple as, oh man, here comes that really hard passage in the song. Don't pay attention to it. Be in the moment. Think about what you're doing, not how you're doing. When you get to the hard passage, if you're thinking about what it is that you're playing, chances are pretty good that you're going to nail it. Along with your preparation, those things are huge, okay? Focus in, focus in. Make sure too that, you know, if you're a little bit nervous, as simple as this sounds, take a deep breath, breathe, really use your breath. You take a big deep breath in, a big deep breath out. That's going to calm you. It's going to give you a calming sensation and slow your heart rate down a little bit. You'll be able to focus in on what you're doing then. If you have, somebody walks up and says, hey, 5 minutes to downbeat, well, if you're really nervous, take a minute, you know, take a deep breath, walk away from the stage. Get up on the stage and get ready to play after that. One of the things that I do when let's say I'm playing a performance at like a casino or something, and it's a big showroom in a casino, and I'm behind the curtain, and on the other side of that curtain is 2,000 people that are ready and waiting to be entertained. If I'm a little bit nervous, what I do is, again, I take a deep breath. Maybe I've taken a minute before I got it behind my drums, but then what I do is I just double check everything behind my drums. I make sure that, you know, things are good and tightened down, that everything is where it's supposed to be. I've got plenty of drumsticks. I got a few bottles of water. Myself personally, I play to a click or a metronome live that goes into my in-ear monitor, so I'll turn it on, make sure it's working, make sure everything's there, and then as soon as the intro starts and it's time to go, I've done all my preparation work. I've taken a few deep breaths. I've taken a minute. I'm behind the drum set and I'm ready to go. As soon as I count in that song, you know, I mean, 2 minutes after the first note, I'm good to go. It's kind of like, you know, riding a roller coaster. When you're going up the hill, that first hill on the roller coaster, you're a little bit nervous, you're a little bit scared, but as soon as you crest that hill and you go down, it's so much fun. And as soon as the ride's over, what do you do at the end of a roller coaster ride? You want to get back on. That's just the way that it works. The same thing goes for being in a recording session. If you're a young musician and you've never recorded before, or you've done a few recording sessions and you're going to be working with a producer or an engineer that you respect, again, you have to focus in on what you're doing. Don't think, well, what is that guy thinking of me? That's really easy to do. Think about what it is that you're doing and do the best that you can to be the best performer that you can in that moment. All comes back again to what I said at the top of the video. Be prepared. So anyway, that's some of the ways that I deal with stage fright or nerves or whatever. That's what I tell all my students to do. And if that's something that you suffer from and you get a little bit nervous before you go on, hopefully some of these tips will help you. And if you have any questions or comments, you know, go to my website, bartrobley.com, send me an email there. Send me a, maybe put a, you know, if you got a question, put it down below. I'll always answer it here on YouTube. And that's kind of my thoughts for today on stage fright and performance anxiety. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow in day 11. Have a great day.